So here we are at our dashboard in our XDR portal. First place we're going to go is over here on the left-hand side. We're going to go to Client Management, and we're going to take a look at the two default profiles that are going to be given to us in our XDR portal here. The first one is the Cloud Management Portal, and that's going to associate our endpoint that this gets installed on with the XDR portal. And the other one is the NVM profile, and that's going to associate our telemetry with our XDR data lake. And we click on XDR deployments. You can see there's three by default, one for Windows at the top and two for Macs, one for the AMD and one for the ARM processor set. We're going to be working with the Windows one for our example. So we're going to go over here to the right to the three dots. We call that the ellipsis. Let's click on that. And we're going to make a copy of this first deployment option. So this pops up here. We're going to we made our copy. We're going to get rid of that little XDR deployment. There we go. Another three dots. We're going to click on that. We're going to go to Edit. We're going to edit this deployment. We're going to call this our example XDR deployment. You can call it whatever you want, of course. And down here, we're going to go to Next. And the first version here is the cloud management. You can see the profile is associated that we saw earlier. And it's got this version control up there at the top too. The 1.03433 and the recommended. If you look down, you see the same versions are down there without the keywords latest and recommended. Okay, those keywords actually mean something. It means that if Cisco ever changes the latest or recommended, the next time your client checks in with the portal, it's going to download any version changes dynamically. If you want to control when that download happens, you want to pick one that doesn't have the latest or recommended keyword. Let's go to Next. And this is secure endpoint. We're not going to be installing secure endpoint in this particular case. We're just working with the XDR portal and the NVM agent for this demonstration. Let's go ahead and click next. Here we go. So this is the secure client. This is basically the wrapper for all these other modules. And you can see it has the same thing, latest and recommended. And there's a beta version. You can see all these different versions. Keep in mind, if you want to control what version is on an endpoint, don't choose the latest or recommended keyword ones. Choose the version you want. In our case here, though, we are going to keep up with the recommended version and have those dynamically uploaded or downloaded to our endpoints. Okay, the diagnostic and reporting tool, that's the DART tool. We always recommend that you have that installed for your endpoint. If there's ever a problem, you need TAC help, you're going to want to have the DART tool on it. That's the first thing they're going to ask for. And then down at the bottom, you see there's two network visibility module, one for XDR with the default profile there. That's the default profile we saw earlier that associates your telemetry with the telemetry, your exact XDR data lake. So it goes to your proper data lake there. And let's go ahead and click next. This is zero trust access. We're going to go ahead and skip through this. We're not going into zero trust with this particular demonstration here. All right, let's save it. And then we're done. Deployment successfully saved, our example XDR default deployment. Let's go back to our deployment screen. There should be a new one here, a fourth deployment showing up. There it is, example XDR default deployment for Windows and AMD 64. And that was the one that we just customized. We're going to go over here to the far right. Going to click on those three dots again, the ellipsis. And there's going to be two options for download. There's a network installer and the full installer. We're going to download with the full installer, but the network installer, if we were to use that, it only installs the cloud management agent on an endpoint. And then that cloud management agent is going to pull down everything else once it associates itself with the specific XDR portal. We're going to install our Cisco Secure Client by double clicking on it. Keep in mind, you can push this out any way you want. We're just double clicking on it manually here for our example workstation. And yes, we do. So this brings up the Cisco Deployment Tool GUI. If you don't want your end users to see this particular GUI, you can use the -Q or -- quiet flags, and then they won't see the GUI pop up like this on their workstations. Let's go ahead and click continue. And it's going to run through the install process, and this is usually pretty quick. Taking a look at this, you can see that we're installing not only the AnyConnect, or what we call the Cisco Secure Client, but the Dart tool, the MVM agent, and the Cloud Management agent. Looks like installation was a success. Let's close this out. Now let's verify the installation of the Cisco Secure Client. Normally you could go down here and you can see it on the taskbar, but after an initial installation, it might not be there. Let's go over to Start and up here to Cisco Secure Client. And there it is. Now what we want to take a look at is the information screen here. We're going to click on the little eye, and inside there you can see that we installed the Cisco Secure Client, AnyConnect VPN, the Dart module, of course, the cloud management piece, and the network visibility module. We can also go down and see that once we run it at least one time, you're going to see that little globe is down there, and upon reboot, that little globe should automatically load from this point on. When we go into the XDR portals, we're going to need a little bit of information. We're going to get it here from the workstation. We're going to go down here, open a command prompt. You can see it's sales user one is the person that's logged in. Let's remember that. We're going to get the IP address using the IP config. It looks like it's .36.135. Remember that. And the host name is desktop-xdr-example-workstation. Keep in mind those pieces of information. Our first verification stop is the XDR Analytics portal. We're going to verify that the NVM, the Network Visibility module, is sending NVZ flow up into the XDR data lake. Now, when you first do your installation, that data may not be here right away. You may need to give it a few minutes before you actually see it up here in the XDR Analytics portal. We're going to go to Investigate, Event Viewer. We're going to click on the NVM Flow tab, and we're going to put in the IP address that we just got. And it was 192.168.36.135. And we should get some telemetry, and there it is. It looks like we're actually receiving it already. We're going to go over here to the left-hand side, click on the little caret, and open it up, and you're going to see all the 36 fields of NVM information that we're sending up into our XDR data lake. So it looks like this is working good. And there's our sales user one and our desktop-XDR example workstation name. Remember, the NVM telemetry that's being sent up is encrypted in transit via TLS 1.2 encryption to the XDR data lake. Finally, we're going to verify that the device appears in the XDR portal. We're going to go to Assets, Devices, and we're going to put our IP address in here for our device, and that is 192.168.36.135. Give it a second here to query for the device. And there it is, Desktop XDR Example Workstation. So we're going to click on that. That'll bring a pop-up over on the right-hand side. And we're going to go down to View Device Details. And here's everything that we know Portal knows about this particular endpoint. And you can see if we scroll down here, there's the 4 modules that we installed for our Cisco Secure Client. And there's the NVM module that we just did the telemetry on earlier. A couple of key points to keep in mind here. We're going to go over once more. Remember the latest and recommended keywords. You can see here 1.03.433 is the latest. The recommended is 1.01.400. And below it, they have the same numbers. That if you choose latest or recommended, should those latest or recommended versions ever change, whenever your endpoint agent checks in, it's going to download the newest, latest, or recommended. If you want to control when those go out or those get updated on your endpoints, you need to choose an option without the latest or recommended keywords selected. Another key point is the network versus full installer. If you choose the network installer version and put that on every endpoint, the second is the cloud management agent reaches out and registers itself at the XDR portal. It's going to pull down the remaining modules to install. So if you have like the secure endpoint module and the NVM module and any other modules, it's going to pull them all down, which doesn't sound too bad if you're just doing, 10 or 15, but if you're pushing this out to 1,000 endpoints, well, that can actually be impacting. So think about that when you're generally want to use the full installer when you're first installing these agents. So a couple of frequently asked questions that often come up. First is we can only make the XDR deployment for Windows at the .exe format. We can't yet create the .msi format. And the other one is do not install the NVM module on servers at this point. The amount of connections going to and from servers can, and along with the NVM module, can have a utilization impact on the server itself. You can still create an XDR deployment with the cloud management module and um, secure endpoint and any other options that are available from the XDR deployment portal, but just don't put the NVM module on servers. So that's a key point to keep in mind.